All right, everyone. Good morning. It is Thursday, April 18th, 2019. This is the public Helm developer call. For anyone who has not been here before or who's seeing it recording live or seeing it recording, what we normally go for this format is that we do any kind of weekly announcements that have happened over the last week. Then we go into stand-ups and then any discussion items that we want to add either to the agenda or had discussed in the last week. And then we go for assignments for the next week for future moderation notes and issue share for the next week. So, Michelle, you mentioned that you had an announcement to make about the Helm Summit.
Yeah, the Helm Summit webpage and CFP forum is live. I'll post a link to that in the chat after I finish this announcement and in the notes for anybody who's interested in submitting a CFP. We also had lots of people submit an application to be part of the program committee. So those notifications are going to go out in the next few days as well. So be on the lookout for that if you applied for that. So once again, Helm Summit is in Amsterdam, September 11th to 12th. And core maintainers will meet on the 13th if you're available. That's an optional session. Okay, that's all I have. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm super, super excited. So yeah, now that we actually have the dates confirmed, you can now book your travel if you're interested in coming along. So yeah, that's really great to hear that. So I don't think there's any other announcements that we had for this week. So I think we can roll right into stand-ups. So Josh, do you want to go?
Sure. I was able to submit the initial PR for registry login. So based on a lot of work that Shiwei, who's from Microsoft, has been doing on the ORUS library. So that submitted works. I think it's almost ready. I think we're going to wait until we do a 0.4 release of ORUS to merge it. I think we discussed, but that's it for me. Michelle?
Thanks, Josh. Congrats. I know that's been a long time in the making.
Yeah.
That's great. So yeah, I've been working on Helm test this week, pretty deep into it. It wasn't working, so there were some issues in our kube client, and it's stuff I wrote like 2 years ago. So I deleted a lot of that and got to clean up the logic to use Client Go for watching the test pod. So it's much cleaner now, and it's like went from like 20 plus lines to like less than 10. So I'm really happy about that. Now I'm like unit testing, and I'm having a lot of issues right now because there's so much stuff being passed through channels because we're streaming the test results in your to your terminal, and so it's really hard to unit test, and I know that a lot of that is going to change too, so I'm just trying to figure out like what I should try to merge, because I want to do small updates so that we can have like a test run. We have now I have test run working in my branch, so I want that working in our first alpha release, because it's not working in Dev v3 right now. So I'm trying to do the smallest amount of changes possible to actually get that into Dev v3 so we can cut an alpha with a working test run command. So anyways, be on the lookout for PR in the next few days. I'm also out tomorrow and Monday, so if I don't respond to something, it's because I'm out. Brian, you want to go?
Sure. Yeah, I've been working to get the Lua code on a dev branch on the Azure repo. I pushed that this morning, but it's under like active development in terms of cleaning up how the stack is unwinded and returning errors. And then there's another issue that I'm currently working on, which is when a Lua function recursively calls itself, I'm reallocating the stack. So I'm basically just trying to solve these issues. That's it. Matt, do you want to pass back to you? I don't know who's left.
I think that's me. I think it's really just the four of us for today. And then Adam eventually will come along. So this last little week has been kind of working through with Ronan. Ronan has been kind of working on some of the Helm 3 design elements, including the Helm Summit, like doing the logos for it, and the really cutesy kind of like Helm Summit logo, which I'm in love with. But also one of the things that we've been doing is trying to get multiple different versions of the documentation up and running or up and available on helm.sh/docs. So then you can have like a drop-down list of an available version so that you can basically click between them. So the idea here is that when we eventually have an Alpha 1 available or a 3.0 or a beta, then we can serve both the Helm 2 documentation by default, but then if you want to do a drop down and get the actual Helm 3 documentation so you can take a look at there and go through that, then that's available on the website as well. So we're working through that and just like playing around with Hugo and trying to see how other people have done this before. Apparently Jaeger in the CNCF has also done something similar. So I've been looking at what they've been doing and how they implemented it. And then also we've got some help like from Bridget Cromhout, who's one of the organizers from DevOps Days. And she's done a lot of work on this as well for like doing the DevOps Days organizations and how they do kind of like data management with Hugo. So that was a large part of late last week and coming into early this week. Now I'm coming back to some of the Helm 3 PRs that I've been working on. One of them has been kind of like reintegrating the OCI stuff, as in like the Helm chart packages or Helm chart commands, and kind of reintegrating them into like Helm package and to like an actual like Helm push and things like that. So instead of them being just like off tandem commands for the alpha, then we can actually test them. I'm just kind of going through some of the designs right now, like with Helm package and how that works with registry URLs. So yeah, I should have something a little bit more concrete to show probably at the start of next week, more so than anything. Then we can see if we want to evaluate that for the initial alpha or if we're going to want to punt that off for later because the current stuff works so far. So that is what I've been working on. So I think, and in perfect timing, Adam Reese has come along. Adam, we just did all the other stand-ups. Do you want to give a little quick stand-up on what you've been working on this week?
Yeah, sure. Sorry for being late. I just got tied up dropping off the daughter at school. So last week I was out pretty much the full week with the flu. So I haven't really been up to too much. I've just been trying to catch up and catch up on PR reviews and just get back up to speed on a few of the things going on. I was out. That's about it.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, Michelle, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I guess this could roll into discussion items too, but I was just curious, like, I think you mentioned we want to cut an alpha 1. Did we want to do that? Like, do we have a timeline for that? Or do we have like some like milestone or something for when we want to cut that?
That's actually a great discussion item. I think we should definitely go through that and evaluate where we are today, and what do we want to add into the alpha, like what's currently in the project list, and see which things we need to get in and which things we should defer. Because I know Josh's like Helm login would definitely be something great to have in for the alpha. And just things here and there that might be good to have in. So yeah, let's add that as a discussion item and let's kind of discuss that and maybe come up with a timeline.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that sound good? Okay. So that's everyone from the core maintainers that have done a stand-up. Does anyone from the community that's here at the call, does they want to bring up any kind of discussion items? Do they want to bring up any stand-ups that they've been doing on for this last week?
Yeah, so I sent an email the other day and sounded like this was the right place to have this discussion. Basically, for those of you who don't know, we were talking about providing a grant from CodeFresh to the Helm project. And And so that would basically mean you could use CodeFresh as your CI/CD provider to the pipelines, all the built-in Helm repositories, Docker registries, all that stuff. So this is a grant that we talked about offering to the community to see if anybody would be interested. We've got a couple of other open source projects that have kind of signed on already for grants from CodeFresh. So I actually don't know currently the state of CI within Helm, and I asked Josh about it, and I talked to another maintainer whose name just escaped my head.
I think it was me, but that was probably a couple of months ago, a long time ago.
I definitely talked to you about it a long time ago. So anyway, so now we have this open source program where we're offering grants, and so I think it would be, what we were looking at was like a $60,000 grant, which would give you like the next 3 years of being able to use all the infrastructure and stuff for free. And I don't know, do you have other grants like that give you infrastructure for testing, like against Kubernetes and things like that?
I'm actually unaware of any grants that we've been given. Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
Are we paying for Circle right now, or like is CNCF paying for Circle?
No, we have we use free Circle CI, right, Adam?
I have to confirm on that because I think Microsoft might pay a little bit.
Yeah, the thing is like we could ask CNCF, but Microsoft has been footing the bill for a lot of things. And Google offered do we still host charts in Google?
Yes.
Yeah, we still have a Google Cloud account, which hosts all our storage for images and our registry. But yeah, we're definitely interested, and we should talk. I'm just not sure who we have to talk to just to get approvals and stuff to move over.
Yeah.
There was also sorry to cut you off. There's also a mailing list thing that Matt Farina started that was talking about our different CI stuff, and I don't think we have like an overview of like which project, like even what type of tests are going on in each project, right? So I think that'd be a good way to see, here's all the gaps and where can CodeFresh or anything else step in. So
yeah, so it seems like, oh, sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, I think I was just going to say, if we're having that conversation, the mailing list, let's go back to the mailing list and continue the conversation there, but maybe also follow up with a specific meeting with the right people for this specific topic in the next week and a half, I would say. Is that?
Yeah, I would say that's the next action item, is just follow up on the mailing list and then track down who are the correct people that should be in this discussion, and then schedule a meeting. So yeah, I agree with you, Michelle.
In the meantime, if it's useful, I don't mind doing some work on pipeline creation to try to maybe set something up so that you can actually have kind of some hands-on with it. I'm not going to volunteer Josh, but I know that Josh is perfectly capable of helping out with such an effort. But
that was my other point to you, is that the free money is amazing, but it's more the bandwidth of the people working on Helm and who, time to, switch over from whatever's going on right now. So.
Okay. Yeah. I just looking at it, just looking at the current pipeline, I think there's just one that's running. So I can probably just take that and adapt it over. So, and make like a pull request and get it set up.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Cool. All right, well, I'll do that, and then if you guys want to loop in the right people, then we can have a follow-up discussion like next week or something.
Alrighty, so is there anything else that we want to discuss before we move on to other discussion items?
Yeah, just real quick, I want to give an update on schema validation. I did get that modified over. It's no longer expecting YAML, it expects JSON, which I think makes a lot of sense. The one issue that we did have was the generation of schema. That feature, I've removed it, but I don't know if that's something that we are going to want. Does anyone have any opinions on that, or?
Okay, I saw that you posted updates after I gave that review, so I haven't gone back and read it yet, but I'll do that after this call.
Okay. All right.
Perfect. Thanks, Ian.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so discussions. So the first thing on here from Josh was release and release version CRD status and questions. Josh, what was the question?
Yeah, so really quick, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, but the tiller list right now is still using config maps. Is that right?
Config maps or secret or in memory.
Okay.
Same as tiller was.
Okay, so I'm guessing the CRD thing is not an alpha feature?
It's a dream for alpha. If we can put it in alpha, that would be ideal. But
Okay.
if it has to get bumped, it has to get bumped.
So I was having a conversation this week with somebody, and they had a big concern over the basically RBAC and permissions model of things. And, obviously Tiller, we're going through the cube RBAC system. But with the CRDs, I'm not super familiar with how this would work, but we can define roles, new roles for the CRDs, right? So we can say who can upgrade and who can do this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and we can actually do that now even without switching to CRDs. Like that, I think the security issue that you're talking about with RBAC, that now that we don't have Tiller, it's not Tiller that's creating the resources, it's that user that is doing the action from Helm. So whoever is running the Helm command, now it will be, the RBAC will be mapped to that user. And it has nothing to do with switching to CRDs or not.
Right, but I guess can we limit these people can create config maps, but they can't create releases, right?
With CRDs, we would be able to do that.
Right. Okay. That's my question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a different type, so you can define different
Right.
security roles for that specific type.
Okay. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of confusion right now over what's going to be in Helm 3. So
Yeah, basically the assumption of the role-based access controls for Helm is going to be pretty much exactly identical to what kubectl works right now, where if you have access to create resources in a particular namespace, as in with kubectl create, then in Helm 3, if you're doing a Helm install, then that exact same policy would apply to you. The only difference there would be, assuming that we have a CRD, or assuming that we do that for the release, or the release, not for the release version, but for the release metadata, then it would be the role of the cluster administrator to create a role for that user that they can create those CRDs, so then they can use Helm install or Helm upgrade for the release thing. As it stands right now, in the Helm 3 branch right now for the alpha, all we're doing is just creating a secret, kind of like what we did before. But instead of config maps, it's just a secret. So the role would be, the user has to be able to create secrets in that namespace. And if they can't, then Helm can't install or create those releases for you.
awesome.
So,
Awesome.
Yeah, so the roles and the access controls and everything else all maps one-to-one to what kubectl would expect in ways. It's just, we now need to define what Helm creates for you and how you can actually create those cluster admin privileges. So
Do we need to document or want to document what those different access controls would be?
I think that would be a fantastic thing to take a look at, especially as we go, probably not for the first alpha, simply because like we're just trying to nail down what's in the alpha
Right.
and just trying to get those things through. But as we go to version 3.0, I think that is fantastic information that we need to show to say like, here was the roles and role-based access control from a cluster administrator's perspective in Helm 2. And this is what it looks like in Helm 3. And so these are the assumptions that you would need to know as a cluster administrator migrating from Helm 2 to Helm 3 and how those apply. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to have a doc on this is the way you set up the permissions model.
Yeah.
And then also a doc saying this is how you migrate if you're on Helm 2 to the new.
Cool.
But I don't think that's critical for alpha. I think it's just critical for the 3.0 release.
Josh, will you open an issue?
Where's the place for that?
Helm.
Okay.
Issue queue.
Yeah, I think Helm, so then we can add that. We can label it as docs in V3 to make that as an action item.
Yeah.
And then we can throw that in the backlog.
I will do that right after this.
Alrighty. So the last thing on the discussion item, so we've got 4 minutes before we're ready to go. So we wanted to talk a little bit about where we are currently with the Alpha 1 release and kind of see gauging how far away we are from cutting an Alpha 1. So do we want to quickly go through that now? And then if we don't have time in the next 4 minutes, then we can just like actually do something else to kind of see what where we're going and evaluate those things. Does that sound good? Okay. I will share my screen. So, all right. I will make this bigger in 1 second because this is very small. All right. So on the projects list, we've got the Helm 3. So this is for the Alpha 1. So here's where we are right now. I'll zoom out just one bit so I can see everything. So we've got a couple of things in the PR queue, which is like the XDG-based directory stuff, purging release history by default, Ian stuff for the schema validation. So these are all PRs that are awaiting review. I don't see anything necessarily that is, the one thing that actually that we were talking about earlier was your Helm 3 login, logout stuff, Josh. I don't think we've captured that in this project list.
There was definitely something, I think, in backlog maybe. If you go to the left, I think Matt Farina opened something.
Okay. So maybe I'll take the action. I don't see it here, but I'll go look again after this. And I think we should add that for sure. But I think in terms of evaluating here, the last time we did this, we were thinking that anything that was on the accepted, in progress, or awaiting review projects would be things that we wanted to get in and merge before we did the alpha release. But as I'm looking at these, a large amount of these don't necessarily have to wait for the Alpha 1. They could wait for an Alpha 2 or Alpha 3. But I think these are all great to get in for the first Alpha. So I don't know. We've got quite a few sitting now on the list. We're ready for review. I don't think we have anything major that we don't have uncaptured here that we don't already know that we're all working on right now. The last thing as well, of course, is incorporating documentation changes, which we're all working on as we're going through. And also, I know that Martin has been working a little bit on documenting those changes too. So he's been helping out there. So I think everything that we have on the project list, we now have captured. And I think we're either almost all completing towards finishing, and then we'll just have to go through a round of reviews and merge those all through and ready to go for an alpha. So I think we initially said we wanted to get the first alpha out before KubeCon, as in we wanted to have a couple of weeks to test it and make sure that we were kind of like not doing any insane crunch time coming up to KubeCon. So how does everyone think about, I don't know, a week and a half or 2 weeks from now we come back and assess where we are and consider cutting a release around then for the first alpha.
I think that's a great idea.
Same. I can also help with reviews once I'm done with fixing Helm test run.
Yeah, the Helm test run also would be great to have in here. We currently have it in the backlog right now, but if you think you're getting to a comfortable state where you think it could be ready to get in for the alpha 1, then we can move that over. So
yeah, the thing is that right now in its current state it's broken, so I don't want to like release an alpha and then people have trouble with Helm test. So I think I'll just go ahead and submit what I have, and I have the fix, so it should just go in.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So the nice thing about an alpha is that instability is to be expected. So it's all about showcasing the feature, even if there are massive edge cases or it just straight up doesn't work in some cases, just to get people, get it in their hands and to play around with it and actually to gather feedback for those things. So if you have it in a somewhat working state, then I think that, to me, I think that's workable of a solution, and we can keep on iterating from there. So
I just want to interject there. I tend to disagree with that.
Okay.
I think it has to be in a workable state. It's fine if there's like bugs, but I don't want to put in anything. I don't want to release anything that's broken.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe to clarify a little bit, I think
I want to put a little bit of pressure on people to get their features done.
Okay.
I don't want to accept anything that's just flat out broken. I think that's a bad experience that doesn't enable users to go and download the alpha to test it out and give us feedback. If we say this is broken and we know it, then that doesn't really do anything for the user.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I was thinking along the lines of like happy path. If it passed.
I was just trying to clarify. I kind of knew what you were meaning, but
okay.
Like, trying to alleviate some of the pressure on people to have it be perfection before getting it merged. But yeah. I think we don't want to accept stuff that's just garbage.
Fine, I won't PR garbage.
So that concludes the meeting. We're now 2 minutes over. We just want to go through assignments for the last things. So does anyone want to be moderator for the next following week?
I can.
Michelle and Adam, do you want to pair moderate?
No, Adam can have it. I'll note take.
Okay. And then who wants to be issue Sherpa for this next week?
Can we like survey people on the core maintainer list for issue Sherpa? Because I know you're working on Alpha 3 or Alpha stuff. I am too. Adam is too. Josh is too. So maybe we could get like some folks, other folks on the core maintainer list to help us with that
for sure. Week. Yeah. Okay. We'll do that. I will follow up. All right. That concludes this week. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.